Chris Moorcroft here with the Mount Buller Snow Report, and I'm joined this morning by Olympic aerial skier and ex-Labor Party politician, Kirsty Marshall. How are you, Kirsty?
I'm not too bad. A little chilly, but apart from that, very happy to be here.
Thanks for joining us. Now, tell us a little bit how you started your career as an aerial skier.
Well, I was an old gymnast, and when I say old, that's 15. And I was up here skiing one weekend, and I saw the Team Buller guys all jumping off their jumps and doing their thing, and I was so impressed and went up and asked if I could have a go. And back then it was a little bit more relaxed in the way that the structure was. So that day they said, yeah, sure. Gave me a pair of skis and I threw a front somersault.
Nice work. Can't say I did that on my first day of skiing. Well, I might have, but it would have been an accident. But tell us, when you got into the aerial skiing, where did you do most of your training?
Well, actually, we were training. Originally, the site was over at Federation, and then we moved over to Horse Hill. And we used to do shows here on Burke Street during the day and during the night, Saturday nights particularly. And eventually we went over to Chamois, which is where the real jump site. Everything else was built just out of snow. And that was the real jump site, and it sort of took it right up to world-class level.
Fantastic. Now, as luck would have it, actually, the Chamois area and Lydia Lassila-Chair is opening for the first time this season today. But the other thing I'm interested in is, after your Olympic stint, you moved into doing a bit of politics. Were there any connections between aerial skiing and politics?
Well, I think you'd know there's politics everywhere. And certainly coming through as an athlete, that was one of the first things you do have to learn about is politics in sport. So I think I had a pretty good training ground in many different ways. There's a lot of teamwork, there's a lot of preparation, all of the things, the competitive nature is really important. So I think that it was a fairly smooth transition, and I really enjoyed it. I've enjoyed 2 careers in such diverse areas, some similarities, but it's been fantastic.
But you're back in the snow now.
I'm back in the snow. Now I'm really happy.
Well, let's take a little bit of a look at the weather and what's happening today. We've got a top of 4 degrees today with partly cloudy skies after an overnight low of -3. Loads of snowmaking and grooming overnight, so the resort is looking fantastic. 13 lifts are running today, so make sure your gear is waxed and ready to ride. Now, before we get our gear together and head out for a bit of a ski, one last question. Is there any advice you'd give to any up-and-coming athletes who want to work their way towards the Olympics?
I think the same thing applies for anybody else as it did with me, which is you have to think like you're the number 1 person, but you train like you're the number 2 person. So you really keep the pressure on all the time and you don't ever take a break.
That's great advice. Well, we're going to head out for a ski, so I'll see you in shredding. This is Chris Moorcroft.
And this is Kirsty Marshall.
On top of the world at Mount Buller.